Hello again, everyone. Now we are here in Bloom's Taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is developed by Benjamin Bloom, classifies learning objectives into levels of thinking from remembering facts to creating new ideas. It helps teachers design instruction and assessments for all levels of learning. So, from what we see here, Bloom's taxonomy, it has like a step-by-step process. As we see here, a pyramid different levels of process. First is the remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and then creating. So now we will discuss about these terms and how they help teachers and how also it can help the students to grasp their learning. The first one, the purpose. Now let us talk about the purpose of the Bloom's taxonomy. The taxonomy, it organizes learning objectives from simple to complex. It ensures students progress from remembering information to analyzing, evaluating, and creating, promoting higher order thinking. From the purpose, there it organizes learning objectives. It moves from simple to complex and promotes critical thinking. So that's the purpose of the Bloom's taxonomy. Next, remember. So, what is in about remember? Remembering is a basic level where learners recall information, definitions, or facts. Examples include listing, identifying, or recalling key concepts from memory. So, without remembering, how can the student process all the learnings that she or he received from his or her teacher? So, by that, remembering takes the process of defining, and then listing and then recalling. And then there, in the process of recalling, comes remembering. Next is understanding. Understanding involves explaining ideas in one's own word. Students can summarize, interpret, or describe concepts to demonstrate comprehension. So, the process of understanding takes an explanation, summarizing, and interpretation because how can the student understand something from the lesson if they don't explain it by themselves, if they don't summarize, and if they don't make interpretation? That is why it is very important that there will be group activities upon them in which the students can have experience themselves and then they will have that group discussion for them to apply explaining, summarizing, and interpreting. Now let us move forward to apply. Applying knowledge means using it in new situations. Students solve problems, perform tasks, or demonstrate skills using what they have learned. So after applying the purpose, the remembering, the understanding, there comes applying. So after they have remember and after they have understand something, of course, the student will then apply what they have learned. Analyzing requires breaking information into parts, examining relationships, and identifying patterns. Students compare, differentiate, and study how components fit together. So that's the process of, I know, apply. Applying knowledge means use it in new situations. Students solve problems, perform tasks, or demonstrate skills using what they have learned. So, of course, to apply, there has to be a knowledge to use from what they have remembered and from what they have understand. And then they will be the one to solve problems for them to apply what they have understand. And then there, after that, they will be the one to demonstrate the skills that they have obtained from applying the pre seated terms. Next is the analyzing. So, what is in analyzing? To analyze requires breaking information into parts, examining relationships, and identifying patterns. Students compare, differentiate, and study how components fit together. So in analyzing, a comprehensive, there exists a comprehension and critical thinking. And by that, students used to compare, examine, and break things into parts for them to little by little get the extract of the lesson and that they will be able to evaluate in which they do judge, critic, and make decisions. Furthermore, evaluation involves making judgment based on criteria. Learners critic work, justify decisions, or access the quality of solutions logically. So after analyzing, they now make evaluation. Now the next one is to create. Creating is the highest level. Students generate new ideas, design projects, or produce original work, encouraging innovation and complex thinking. So now, after those first seven process, the student will now be able to apply creativity or to create. And this means thinking outside the box, meaning putting an application from all that they have extracted from the teachers instructional materials, and way of or something like approaches in teaching. There we see designing, generating ideas, and that would lead them to produce original work in which they themselves have created. Now let us talk about the strengths and weaknesses about the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy encourages higher order thinking, guides lesson planning, and develops creativity. Its weaknesses are that it can be hard to assess some levels and may require significant teaching preparation. Of course, the process is something that takes time. It has eight processes, I guess, and that requires higher order of thinking. And of course, it helps the teacher and the lesson planning and develops creativity because at the end point of the process there the creativity of the students increases. Now let us discuss its weaknesses. It is sometimes hard to assess, time consuming as what I have mentioned earlier, and may overwhelm beginners because there is a process sometimes overwhelms them. That concludes Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you for listening, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much. This is Ortado Leon Grace S. reporting and discussing about the Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you and God bless.